listening to the White Wall Sessions Radio.
White Wall Breakdown, take 1, 2, 3, 4.
Welcome to the White Wall Sessions Radio. I'm your host, Steve Zastro. On this week's episode, the indie folk styles of Pacific Northwest native Rocky Votolato, the smooth sounds of Sioux City-based singer-songwriter Elsa Va. Also later in the hour, the Americana folk rock band Midwest Dilemma. To hear more on these artists, as well as other artists featured on the program, visit www.thewhitewallsessions.com. Rocky Votolato is an indie folk singer-songwriter from Seattle, Washington. With roots deep in the Pacific Northwest scene, Rocky's style blends earnest lyrical songwriting with melodies rich in indie folk influence. We were lucky enough to catch him while on a national house show tour. Rather than typical clubs and venues, Rocky offered fans the opportunity to host intimate, unplugged shows on the comfort of their couch. Rocky has 8 solo records released to date, including his most recent release, 2015's Hospital Handshakes, which was produced by Chris Walla of Death Cab for Cutie.
Yeah, sometimes it'll get a little bit loud.
Oh, you know you away from the stolen night. Is this an exercise or an exorcism? Firework pilots fly towards the explosion. In the sky, the bright colored light suffering the horizon of my mind. I'm a patient with no patience. Hospital handshakes. We must each be broken if we're ever to be made new again. Current of this currency is pain. It's painting me golden. Burning on this weight from you, lying and on this door. You're a ghost in the sun. A massacre on the winter, a silent sea, deafening defeat, drowning the minor second, until there's no line between the truth and the lies that we're all hiding behind. If it's a choice, what will we decide? We choose sides between the darkness and the light. We must each be broken if we're ever to be made new again. Current of this currency is pain. Yeah, it's painting me golden. Painting me golden, painting me. She held my hands and walked me back from the ledge where I was standing. My father sent me to my
Thanks, guys.
How long you been out? No, how many shows have you done here?
So tonight will be like, I don't know, 12 or 13.
Is that right?
On the tour, yeah.
So you're making your way from west east then, or?
Yeah, I'm doing the whole country in a big circle clockwise, so.
Oh, you picked the right time of the year. Shouldn't hit too much snow, I don't think.
It's nice. Yeah, I was looking at the weather a few weeks before I left, and the whole East Coast was just covered in a blanket of ice and snow that didn't look pretty.
You never know around here this time of year, man. It could be beautiful 70 degrees. It could be, a couple feet of snow. You never know.
Yeah. I mean, I've been through, I guess, what is it, late March?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I've been through all kinds of storms going across the Continental Divide this time of year. It's just luck of the draw.
Yeah.
I've tried to plan for it for years, but anything short of just waiting to tour till, late May or something, you never know if you're going to hit some weather.
Why doesn't everyone book a tour in the south during the winter and up north during the summer, It doesn't work like that.
Well, I started earlier than I ever have this year, actually, because I went on tour with a band out of Louisville, Kentucky called Murder by Death. And they had a new album coming out in January, and so we started our tour in Seattle in January. Went down the West Coast, and then curved over, went through Texas or through Albuquerque, through Texas, and then ended in Memphis, Tennessee. And the last night of that tour, we didn't hit any snow or any ice or anything. The last night of the tour, crazy snowstorm comes into Memphis.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, it was like an ice storm. I'd never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
As soon as the rain would hit the car, it just turned to ice. And so getting out of there was pretty bad. But the whole tour was done by then, so we lucked out.
Oh, cool. Let's go back just a couple questions about earlier in your life. I know you grew up in Texas and you moved to Seattle when you were a teenager. And you were already playing guitar a little bit when you were in Texas?
Yeah, my mom got me my first acoustic guitar from a pawn shop in Houston, Texas, and I'd been bugging her for a couple years at that point. I wanted to be cool like my older brother. He's the one that started it. My uncle handed him a hand-me-down guitar. It was a custom Gibson Les Paul.
Oh, that's like a nice hand-me-down.
Yeah, it was really nice. We've kept it in the family, luckily, over the years. It didn't.
Oh, that is good.
Yeah, it didn't end up getting pawned, but.
Right.
But yeah, that guitar kind of started it. My uncle used to come over and do like Dylan and Beatles covers at family gatherings, and so we always looked up to him, and then my brother started playing, and so that was it. I just wanted to be cool like him, and
When you first started playing, did you just play covers for a long time, or did you try to start writing your own music right away?
It was I tried writing pretty much right out of the gate. I knew a few covers, but. Even while I was learning other people's songs, just to learn how to be proficient and play guitar, I always wanted to write. So from the time I was, I think 13 on, I was writing songs. They weren't very good, but.
How long before, at that point, until you were playing in a band then?
I didn't start my first band until I moved to Seattle, made a few friends in high school, and I was probably, I want to say 16, 17 before I had a band. We were called Runaway Laughing, and
what style was it?
It was pretty heavy, it was kind of like
punk rock, or?
Yeah, punk influence,
Right.
Punk and rock, and I started out playing blues guitar. Actually, that's what I learned mostly when I was down in Texas, and then when I moved up to Seattle, I got involved more in the punk scene up in the Northwest.
Right. So, what kind of blues did you hear? Did you like the Vaughan Brothers and stuff? Were you into those guys, or?
Yeah, like some Robert Johnson and some like Stevie Ray Vaughan, of course, because I
Right.
was from Texas, and my uncle actually saw him in a bar in Texas or in Houston,
Right.
and just told me about the show, and so I wanted to be able to play all those, like Little Wing and that kind of stuff when I was first starting out. So I had a Fender Telecaster as well, and, but then I just always gravitated towards acoustic guitar.
Sawdust and shavings for rent here, and power lines through all the summer woods, my dear. But I'm hoping, and that hope is linked to your tears. Let love be your only teacher. Andromeda seas restless Why do this love and madness look so much alike? Andromeda, the sea is restless tonight. You have no idea the power on the dark side. And there's a voice without words if you listen, if you can keep the crows and the nightingales quiet. It's driving you mad with each revelation. Let love be your only teacher. You walk from the tavern out into the streets, drinking your passion and stumble in disgrace, and close both your eyes to see anything, but keep the door of your heart open. Restless tonight. Why do this love and madness look so much alike? Andromeda, the sea is restless tonight. You have no idea power on the dark side. I'll give you my heart if you can keep the door open. I'll give you my heart if you can keep the door from closing. I'll give you my heart if you can keep the door open. I lost the thread of the story that I was telling. All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
To hear more on these artists, as well as other artists featured on the program, visit www.thewhitewallsessions.com. Still to come, the smooth sounds of Sioux City-based singer-songwriter Elsa Va. Also later in the hour, the Americana folk rock band Midwest Dilemma.
Listening to the White Wall Sessions Radio.
Elsa Va is a singer-songwriter from Sioux City. A multi-instrumentalist, Elsa blends her beautifully soulful voice with smooth piano playing and folk blues-driven acoustic guitar. On the night of her White Wall performance, Elsa Va was joined by Shelby Pierce on piano and vocals. The pair's rich harmonies filled the studio with pleasant tones.
I should probably do something louder too.
Daylight, and let the shuffle begin. Find me a little moment of peace, but the rickety shoulder to shoulder always gets me thinking I should be beside more should go back to the country, find a plot of land I sold in the valley, plant a garden, get some honeybees, and live life more simply. Feeling getting harder to breathe, can't go out without bringing my keys, can't keep it straight, what's good or bad, when each new day there's a new fad. I should go back to the country, find a plot of land that's sold in the valley, plant a garden, get some honeybees, and live life more simple. Back to the country, find a plot of land that's sold in the prairie, plant an orchard, get some honeybees, and live life more simply. Gonna line my yard with a red Swiss chard and marigolds. Morning glories growing up the phone pole. Chimes are ringing every time the wind blows, and chickens run around 'cause they're so happy. Apple trees and strawberries, blackberry pie. Gonna hang a tire, swing down by the campsite. Drinks so cold it'll chill your bones in no time. Enjoy this bursting seed of summer. Should go back to the country, find a plot of land that's sold in the valley, plant a garden, get some honeybees, and live life more simple. Back to the country, find a plot of land that's sold in the prairie, plant an orchard, get some honeybees, and live life more simply. Daylight, and let the shuffle begin. Find me a little moment of peace.
All right, once again tonight we are here with Elsa Va and Shelby Pierce from Sioux City. Thank you guys so much for coming in and playing the lovely, beautiful music for us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, thank
this
you.
place is incredible.
Generally, what we'll do is we'll talk about your early musical endeavors, and I'm going to ask both of you separately. We'll start with Elsa. Did you grow up in a musical household?
Yeah, I'd say so. Well, it was a very heavy public radio household. So we heard music on public radio, and then my mom would blare Patsy Cline every single weekend at about 7 a.m.
Oh, that's a nice wake up.
It was the way we woke up every weekend.
Did anyone play instruments at that time?
Let's see, as a kid, my mom had me in piano, so I was taking piano lessons. Wasn't a big fan of piano lessons. And she'd play a little piano, and she sang all the time. My mom, she would just, when she was cooking, she'd sing. When she was doing the dishes, she'd sing. Gardening, she was always singing. So
Pretty much a happy person then, for the most part.
Well, I don't know if that's...
Or was she singing the blues? Maybe I shouldn't have assumed that, right?
No, yeah, I think she was, and I think she just really... I don't even think she realized she was singing half the time. It was just so natural.
Oh, that's very cool. How about you, Shelby?
As far as growing up in a musical family, I mean, we grew up listening to Motown, and but no, I don't remember, apart from my parents singing along to the radio when the radio was on. No one really sang. But I know for me, I am such a talker. I've always been really verbal. And when I was little and started watching Disney movies, they just couldn't shut me up. That's it. I sang Ariel over and over and over and over again. So I don't think anyone else in my family, no one else really sings. But I picked up piano and played flute and wanted to get my hand on any instrument I ever could. So.
Well, you both got really beautiful voices. Did you guys start singing like in grade school in the choirs and stuff at school, or was it later than that?
Yeah. I mean, I loved singing as a kid, and I sang in play. I got into theater. I sang in a lot of plays and did musical theater every summer, and was in choir. And yeah, since I was a little kid, I'd say.
All right.
I was the same way. Yep. I got as many music classes as I could be in. I was in. So yeah.
All right. How did you guys meet?
Friendsgiving.
Yeah. Boy, that was fun. Yeah, it was lucky. I had just moved to Sioux City not too long before this, and as you know, we didn't know anybody here, so we didn't have a lot of friends. And I happened to play a gig at the farmers market in Sioux City, and I was playing kind of an obscure song, and this girl walked by, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, I know that song!" And we started talking, and she ended up inviting me to Friendsgiving, which was like a Thanksgiving but with friends. And I got to meet Shelby and their wonderful community of friends that they have in Sioux City. It's just a great group of people.
Kingdoms under the sun-shaped clouds we be. Tandem locomotion for the first time, breathing easy, blowing bubbles filled with summer air. It's been years, but I thought you should know you still cross my mind. Did you get the note I left written in the snow so long ago? Crashing down another flight, here we go again. And we rode so far in a round, round state till we found ourselves in a faraway place. Rolled too far to find our way back home. Saw your shadow move from mine, or was it just the shifting of the sun? But your back getting smaller as you dug a hole till the water filled the bottom, and you felt us cold. Then you put us in like a dog with a bone, nothing to mark the spot, no extra stone, and backed away. And I know it's been years, but I thought you should know you still cross my mind. Did you get the note I left written in the snow so long ago? So I drove across the faces of all the pretty stars for direction in the trees, following the arrows they pointed me. And then I close my eyes, quiet in my mind, and I listen to the breeze. But I thought you should know, you still cross my mind. Did you get the note I left written in the snow so long ago? Did you get the note? I sent it in the waves, the bottle growing small as I watch you float away. Did you get the note? Sent it in the waves, bottle growing small as I watch you float away. I watch you float away. I watch you float away.
To hear more on these artists, as well as other artists featured on the program, visit www.thewhitewallsessions.com. Still to come, the Americana folk rock band Midwest Dilemma.
You are listening to the White Wall Sessions Radio.
Midwest Dilemma is an Americana folk rock band based out of Omaha. A long-standing staple in the Midwest folk scene, the band has seen a plethora of talented musicians share the stage with its frontman. The band is the brainchild of singer-songwriter Justin Lamoureux. The band's sound glues listeners to the overall rhythmic drive, witnessing the stories played out in Lamoureux's lofty vocal stylings. Justin was joined by Nick Johnson on guitar and vocals on the night of his performance. Midwest Dilemma has one album released to date, 2008's Timelines and Tragedies.
songs for you. And I can write cherry tree. When I was young, you climbed to the top with me. Well, now we are borderline bankruptcy, and I want to get away. Am I 1970 working for the railroad? I am a wild engineer. I've got long hair and I've got long beard. I can write songs for you. And I can write.
Well, once again, we're here tonight with Midwest Dilemma from Omaha. It's Justin Lamoureux and Nick Johnson. Once again, thanks for coming in, guys.
Thanks so much for having us.
You bet. Very enjoyable set of tunes there. We usually start, we'll ask both of you separately, Justin, when did you first really get into music? Were you a fan of music for a long time before you started to play, or did it kind of go hand in hand? Or?
Yeah, I started playing music at a pretty early age. My dad was also a musician and guitar player. He was kind of a jukebox of old tunes, back in the day, like you said, we talked about earlier, like Pure Prairie League and stuff like that. He could play a lot of those tunes, and he liked a lot of Southern rock and stuff, but he also liked some of the folk stuff. And so that kind of led to, I guess, kind of where I'm at today, just kind of inspired. I kind of came full circle, but kind of drifted off into some other genres and things like that. But I always, music's always been a part of our family growing up. I'm just super fortunate to have been around it for so many years.
Good. How about you, Nick? Did you play at a young age, or?
I did. My brother started playing piano at 2, which
That's
was
a very young age.
Right. And then my parents, who, there's no musical quality there, but seeing my brother being so talented, they asked me if I wanted to start playing at a young age. So, growing up with a brother that played an instrument as well as he did, I was constantly learning music in my instrument from my brother's, piano playing, basically.
Right. And guitar was your first instrument?
It was, yeah.
Right. Have you always played a lot of acoustic? Did you go the electric route, like in high school or anything?
Electric is my main instrument. Yeah.
Okay.
I play either one, really,
right.
But my first guitar was an electric guitar, and I got an acoustic when I was 13 or 14, a few years later, and I teach with that same guitar, the very same one that I learned on as far as the acoustic. But
right.
Electric is a lot of fun too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, Justin, how early did you actually start writing your own material then?
Probably when I, just before I moved to Omaha. I'm originally from Sioux City, Iowa. So let's see, I was doing, trying to learn cover songs when I was in Sioux City. And then it must have been 97 when I moved to Omaha, 97 or 98. And that's when I started writing my own material. There was a lot of open mics and things like that. And there was a really good community there for songwriters, and felt like there was just a lot of inspiration in that transition from being in Sioux City to Omaha. And then after going to an open mic night, before I got there, I drove around probably 4 or 5 times, and I kind of creeped around and looked inside, and I was so nervous. I just could not bring myself to go in. And then I drove around again and again and again, and finally I got my guitar out of the car and walked up to the front door, and there was a guy said, "Oh, you're here to play? Come on in. There's no one else signed up tonight, so you're the only one." And it ended up being awesome because I could just destroy my songs, and nobody really knew any difference, and it led to a couple other opportunities, and so that was the beginning, of 97, and met a lot of great musicians and a lot of people that helped me and encouraged me, and that's really, really neat to have.
Yeah, cool. How about you, Nick? Have you always been in Omaha? Or?
I haven't. It's funny. I moved to Omaha in '97 as well, from up by Clear Lake, Iowa.
Right.
We're just talking about the surf, but
surf ballroom area.
Right.
Did you get to go to some shows there when you were a kid or whatever?
Absolutely. Listen to all the Buddy Holly and all the Bigger than Elvis up there. But then I got to Omaha and met Justin shortly at the coffee shops. More I think is where we met that long ago, and started playing together a few years after that.
So you guys have been collaborating for quite a while.
Yep.
Like 16, 17 years or something like that?
Well, at least appreciating each other for that long.
Right.
Yeah.
If you've been in the music scene down there, for the better part of 20 years, have you seen a change? Has it always been real receptive, to beginning musicians and stuff?
I think it's harder now. It's harder now if you're starting off. I don't know if it's just because there's so much talent, but it definitely it feels different. But it's like one of those things where there was a great community, I felt, and we called ourselves like a batch. We were a batch of songwriters, and a whole bunch. I mean, Nick Johnson and we talked about Brad Hoshaw, Matt Wipke. There's a handful of other great ones, female singer-songwriters. But we all we all got kind of tired of the open mics, we all started kind of branching out, and we all did our own thing, and we all started booking our own gigs, and then we all started some of us started touring, and then we all kind of just went our own way, and we just, I'm not sure that there was anybody that picked up that community in which it was led when we were a part of it. So that's very, very interesting. Now it feels more like just another big city, where like if you go to some of these other places. No offense to Nashville or some of those big places, but I mean everyone's wanting a slice of the pie. Everyone wants something, and so that makes the community in a way where there's enough songwriters to go around. The support maybe isn't there as much because everybody wants to. Their own passion. Right. So it definitely takes someone special to kind of lead that, that kind of supportive role as mentor, or just even somebody to appreciate the music.
Right. How about like the number of places that are available to play? Are there a lot more now, or about the same, or fewer?
Well, it was, back in the late '90s, early 2000s, it was more spread out. I think there was there's still plenty of places to play that are spread out through the city, but you've got the Benson area, which has all the, the Barley Street and the Waiting Room, of course. It's got a lot of your music in one area. It wasn't like that at one time. It was
right.
We had the Ranch Bowl back in the day too, which was a great place to play.
Sure.
And if you're starting out, they'd put you in on a Monday or a Tuesday, and if you had a reputation, they'd throw you in on a Thursday with free beer. So
that's a good gig, isn't it?
That's right.
Appreciative crowds.
Sure.
River it flows, down to the valley he goes. His only possession is his family and fortune, a father, a farmer, and a friend. Well, the dust clouds come in over the hills. You can hear the sound of horses and men, and all crops lost their yield. In autumn, the bill collectors come, one by one. Well, Arthur, you don't have to sell, you don't have to give up your land. Well, Arthur, you don't have to sell, you don't have to give up your land. It's a great big world, it's a great big depression, but Arthur, you don't have to sell. Children as they go off to work for money or off to war to sacrifice Victoria, Victoria. You don't have to give up your diamonds and gold, Victoria, Victoria. You don't have to give up your diamonds and gold.
To hear more on these artists, as well as other artists featured on the program, visit www.thewhitewallsessions.com. White Wall Sessions Radio is produced by Spectrum Films. Executive producers are Doug Taylor and Jeff Zuger. Director of Broadcast is Dave Palmer. White Wall Sessions Radio is produced and mixed by Chad Conrad. I'm your host, Steve Zastro. Thanks for tuning in, and be sure to join us next week, same time, same station.
You are listening to the White Wall Sessions Radio.